And to get back to your comment, Sarah, about sort of Article 1 and Congress being sort of the dominant favored institution, if you just look at the Constitution itself, you can see textually that Article 1 has far more powers delegated to it than the executive in Article 2 and then the courts in Article 3. And so just sort of from like a sheer sort of looking at the text itself, it's clear that there was sort of dominance given to that branch of government. And can you talk a little bit about sort of how that panned out maybe for the first century of American government? And then we can sort of take it sort of through historically to see kind of how we got to where we are today.
Sure. So first, to keep in mind that there were no organized, mass-based political parties that we have today. So when we think about how Congress evolved in its first 100 years under the Constitution, we're also looking at it as parties develop. First inside Congress, then as mass-based electoral parties, and then ultimately, obviously, parties in government and more generally, or as organizations built. So I think if we have one takeaway from that first 100 years is Congress dominated, right? We didn't have an executive branch that was nearly as large as we had in the wake, certainly first the wake of World War I. Wasn't called World War I at the time, but in the wake of the Great World War, but then certainly after World War II's expansion, and as we'll come to, obviously the Great Society's expansion in the mid-20th century. So Congress dominated.